At the beginning of the film, we see a mother and her 6-year-old son relaxing in a park. Seeing a flying helicopter, the girl falls into a stupor, succumbing to traumatic memories, and aggressively attacks the sportsman who decided to help her. Apparently, she has big problems with her psyche. A couple of days later, the girl receives a call from someone calling her Sarah Wolf, who tells her that he has additional information about what happened to her in Afghanistan and offers to meet. She goes to the American consulate to get a visa to the USA, where her dead husband was from. So the son, named George, already has American citizenship. They have to wait in line for a long time. Giving in to the entreaties of her tired, cranky son, she leaves him for a while in the playroom. She goes to get a coffee and suddenly sees one of the consular officials handing a large bag to a man. And they see her too. Then it was her turn. But when the mother returns, she doesn't find her son. She has a panic attack. The consulate staff searches for little Josh, but to no avail. The head of security arrives and informs them that the boy didn't come with the girl. No one has seen him, and there's no record of him on the cameras. Sarah is shocked. She's sure she came with her son. Driven to despair, the girl attacks the security boss. In the end, she is locked in an empty office and the German police are called in. Using the phone, she calls her mother and begs her to raise the public to find the child. She knows her son has been kidnapped and is trying to cover it up, but the mother doesn't believe her, knowing her daughter's mental health issues, suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder after serving in Afghanistan. After opening the lock with a pin, Sarah wanders around the building trying to find her son. Using her SWAT skills, the girl climbs up the front of the building, but slips and falls to the ground, suffering severe bruising. Her determination is hard to break, so she makes her way back into the building through the ventilation system, and, having quickly looked at the evacuation plan, continues to look for her son. In the guest room, she finds a frightened girl attacking her. Realizing that Sarah is not a murderer, the girl offers her a deal. She helps her find her son, in return for her release from the captivity in which she has been held here for 2 months. Meanwhile, the head of security and the female consul general discuss Sarah's service record. Hand-to-hand combat skills, served in a Bundeswehr unit, deep reconnaissance, stealthy infiltration, and evacuation. But it seems the head guard is convinced of Sarah's harmlessness, thinks she's crazy. The consul general orders a search for the ex-Special Forces soldier woman without making a fuss. Sarah discovers that her new acquaintance's name is Irina. She has a large bag of jewelry, listens to loud music in Russian, and knows all the ins and outs of the embassy. Sarah knocks out one of the guards and takes the key card to get around the building. She keeps seeing ambushes and flashbacks. In the locker room of the gym, Sarah suddenly sees the same symbol on one of the lockers as on the t-shirt of the man who received the bag from the embassy employee. Breaking into the locker, she discovers illegal substances in the bag. It seems that her son's disappearance has something to do with this illegal business. Clearly, someone at the embassy is involved, but it is very difficult to check this because the territory of the embassy is outside the jurisdiction of Germany, and the local police will not help. Back at the guest room, Irina and Sarah argue violently over their promise to get the girl out of the building using a food truck. They don't trust each other. But then, Irina is attacked by 2 armed men. Sarah resists the attack by protecting the girl. At the noise, the guards rush in and knock Sarah out with a shot. She wakes up tied to a bed. The consul general comes into the room with the head of security. They show her the video from the cameras, which really doesn't show George. Besides, there's no Irina at the embassy. Yes, they have a refugee with consulate protection, but that's not her name. And she wasn't attacked. She just dreamed it. It's the brain's way of protecting itself from traumatic memories. The female consul is convinced that Sarah is insane, and the boy really wasn't with her. Sarah begins to doubt her own normality. But soon Irina herself comes to the ward and tells that she is actually Kira Volkova, the daughter of a murdered, corrupt Belarusian official, and she is being hunted by his former accomplices. The CIA has given her protection, But Kira isn't allowed into the States, where her mother is, and is locked up in the German consulate. She doesn't know who attacked her, but she's sure someone at the consulate is trying to take her out. After all, she has her father's flash drive with compromising material on many high-ranking people. Belarusian again convinces Sarah of the reality of what is happening and helps her to escape from the medical center. The two women hide again, lost in the crowd of the huge building, and become almost friends. They place an ad online about finding that bag of illegal substances, and soon the consulate's IT guy, who is involved, responds. He is given an ultimatum to help find Josh, or he will be turned in. At a cafe, Sarah sees the head of security with her young daughter leave a replica toy and picks it up. Intuition tells the woman that this little trinket could still be useful to her. The IT guy doesn't waste any time either. He infects the system with a virus and brings them a key card. Sarah and Irina get an hour's head start and access to any room in the consulate. In the office of the head of security, they find a file on Sarah and learn that it was he, strangely enough, who got her a job in the States. He's the one who's been gathering information about her, and he's been setting things up to get her into the consulate. And to top it all off, they find out that Kinch, the consulate's head of security, turned in their group in Afghanistan, and it turns out that he was responsible for the deaths of Sarah's friends and husband. The fugitives are soon discovered, and they run through the building again, saving their lives. Sarah cleverly organizes Kira's escape on a food truck to get her to the States via Mexico. As a result, she herself comes under fire and suffers a minor bullet wound. The girl encounters the head of security and fights him in the pool. At gunpoint, he confesses that he kidnapped Josh, but he can't let him go. And besides, he's the only one who knows where the boy is. If she kills him, the child will die. Sarah wins this difficult fight, despite the terrible pain in her shoulder, and again escapes from pursuit. Now the girl has no doubt that it was all a setup, but why Kinch needs it remains a mystery. Disguised in the uniform of an employee of technical services, Sarah arranges an explosion in one of the parts of the building to attract attention to herself. She wants to expose Kinch. The consul general is furious. The building is evacuated. Sarah mingles with the crowd and finds the daughter of the head of security. She tells the girl that she is her father's friend, but she hesitates and doesn't want to go with a stranger. The child is convinced with her favorite bunny rabbit. Now, she quietly leaves with this strange woman. Sarah locks herself and the child in a security room that is set up like a bunker. Soon their whereabouts are discovered. An agitated Kinch contacts her on the intercom and asks her to let her daughter go. But Sarah demands in German that he let Josh go. A crowd of staff, including the consul general, gathers around the security bunker. There's not enough oxygen inside for long, and the desperate girl has switched off the air supply inside. There's no way around it. It's taking too long to break into the bunker. It turns out that in order for little Eileen to survive, her father must confess to everything and give Josh to his mother. But he turns out to be a real scoundrel and subtly plays on Sarah's feelings, saying that she isn't a murderer and will not be able to take the life of an innocent child. The girl tells the embassy staff about Kinch's atrocities, but no one believes her. The consul general persuades her to release the child, but Kinch doesn't confess to anything, continuing to play his dangerous comedy. Sarah has no choice but to open the bunker and let the child go. After all, the child gets worse, and there is very little oxygen left. In the end, Sarah demands that Kinch come in, and in return, she will let Eileen go. Once in the bunker, the head of security mocks the unhappy mother. She is desperate and has become completely despondent. The girl says she realizes that she will never see her son again. She has lost. But at least let him tell her why he had to kidnap him. If he wanted to kill her, he could have done it so much easier. She begs Kinch to promise that he'll take the boy to his grandmother. Kinch switches off the comms so he can't be heard outside and unburdens himself. In fact, he needed Sarah to eliminate Kira and avoid an international scandal. She was protected by the United States, and her death or kidnapping would have raised too many questions. but a crazy ex-Special Forces soldier woman wouldn't raise any suspicions. Sarah was being made a scapegoat. She was just unlucky, that's all. Kinch was unlucky too. He'd worked hard for a career in the military. He got hit by a landmine. Now he works in a low-paying job and his family has no prospects. The government hasn't compensated him for the loss of his career. So he became bitter and began to cooperate with the underworld. A furious Sarah screams at him and he shoots her in the stomach. Then he shoots himself in the leg, faking an attack. Then he opens the door and makes himself look like the victim, and the poor mother look like a deranged psychopath. No one doubts him because he's in good standing. Almost fainting from the pain, Sarah crawls with all her might and reaches Eileen's toy. She never gives up. Kinch is damn right about that. She's managed to record his entire monologue into the memory of the bunny rabbit repeater. Now, she has proof of his crimes. He told her everything himself, and the embassy staff, led by the consul general, are amazed to hear it when they open the door to the bunker. Sarah is urgently hospitalized, and the consul general herself sits by her bedside, begging her not to give up. Finally, the victim opens her eyes. By her bedside sits Josh, thank God, alive and well. The touching scene of mother and son reunited is worth all the sacrifices Sarah made to find him and bring him back. 8 weeks later, she is discharged. The American embassy, taking into account the huge merits of the woman in the capture of a particularly dangerous criminal and spy, gave her a permanent green card. Now, Sarah and Josh can safely go to the States to start a new life there. Before she leaves, Kira calls her and greets her friend warmly. They are sure to meet in America, as they have been through so much together. The taxi is waiting, and the little family is ready to leave. They say goodbye to Josh's grandmother and leave, ready for new adventures far away from the homeland where Sarah has had such a hard time. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.